The pendant had belonged to my grandmother. Platinum with 3 tiny gemstones, elegant and subtle, not ostentatious, merely exquisite. I donned it daily. My brother's wife, Julia, had frequently offered remarks. Still sporting that outdated piece? Subtle jabs disguised as mild worry. The gathering for Mother's birthday was held at my sibling Tom's residence. Julia welcomed me with a superficial peck and a quick scan. "Ah, you've chosen that pendant once more. How touching that you're so nostalgic." Her girl, Mia, aged 15, lingered in the background, thumbing through her device. The eating area resembled a glossy publication layout. Julia's trio of offspring occupied one bench, Mother positioned at the forefront. "So, Aunt Alina," Mia remarked, "Mom mentions you handle bookkeeping, monetary advising, essentially identical. Do you earn a decent income?" "Mia," Tom uttered, lacking true firmness. "What? She appears so unadorned. I was merely curious." Julia chuckled softly. Not all prioritize looks equally. Certain individuals lean toward utility. The meal proceeded with Julia detailing Mia's entry into the elite ballet institute, among the elite institutions in the region. "The fees are considerable," Julia noted, "yet we'd sacrifice anything for our kids' aspirations." "How steep?" Mother inquired. 45,000 annually. For a trio of years?" I remained silent, merely consuming and observing. Post-meal, we shifted to the lounge for dessert. I stood near the pane when Mia sidled up to me. "That's lovely," she commented, nodding at my pendant. "Appreciate it. It belonged to my grandmother. Truly? Mom claims it's from a street bazaar, that you struggle to distinguish genuine from imitation." Mia fiddled with the pendant. "It seems inexpensive." Mia refrained from tugging. She pulled with greater force. The fastening gave way. The pendant dropped. Mia snatched it. Whoops, it shattered. Her tone carried mirth, not remorse. Julia materialized. What occurred? Aunt Alina's pendant snapped. I scarcely contacted it, likely aged and frail. As if sourced from a bazaar, one of her siblings chimed in. The youngsters giggled. Julia's grin was compassionate yet triumphant. "Oh, Alina, perhaps it's due for an upgrade, something contemporary." Tom approached. "Was it costly? We could compensate." "It's all right," I murmured softly. "Are you certain, given that it's from—" He halted. "If it's lacking worth, no need for concern." Mother observed from the settee, puzzled by the subtle tension she perceived but couldn't pinpoint. I retrieved the damaged pendant from Mia's grasp. The adolescent had already returned to her screen, the episode dismissed. "No," I stated. "No need for concern." Julia applauded. "Time for dessert. Let's honor Mother." The group relocated to the eating area. I lingered by the pane, clutching my grandmother's fractured pendant, overhearing their merriment and banter as though the event hadn't transpired. Following dessert, following gifts, following Mother's extinguishing of the flames and her brief address on kinship, I departed. Julia escorted me to the entrance. "Glad you joined us," she said, "and honestly, forget the pendant. It's merely an accessory. Sentiments hold the true value." "You're correct," I replied. "Sentiments hold the true value." I drove back and prepared herbal infusion. Then I launched my computer. The initial message was dispatched to Patricia Hayes, head of enrollment at the Elite Ballet Institute. "Dear Patricia, concerning the grant for Mia Thompson, applicant number 3921. I'm rescinding my sponsorship immediately. Kindly execute the cessation of the 3-year pledge. This choice is irrevocable and absolute." Patricia and I had connected at a charity event 3 years prior. We conversed about confidential benefactor contributions. I had established a 3-year grant for Mia, 45,000 yearly, dispersed in installments, categorized as Scholastic Excellence Aid. Julia and Tom never probed her eligibility. The subsequent message was to Tom, with Julia included. "Mia's grant at the Elite Ballet Institute has been revoked. The institute will reach out regarding dues. Fees payable in 30 days or admission lapses." I pressed dispatch and shut the computer. Tom phoned half an hour afterward. "Alina, the Ballet Institute contacted us. Mia's grant is terminated." "Indeed, any idea why?" "That's regrettable, regrettable. The fees total 45,000 yearly. We planned assuming the grant, Julia's vehicle installment, the garden overhaul, your yacht. That's irrelevant. Then what's the issue?" "Quiet. Then was it you? Were you the benefactor? Does it signify? If you were contributing, we ought to have expressed gratitude. Could you have, further quiet. Julia mentioned certain matters this evening. He conceded at last. Regarding your pendant, regarding you, they lacked benevolence." "No, they lacked benevolence, and Mia damaged it." "She did, so this is retaliation. You're penalizing a 15-year-old over a damaged pendant. I'm ceasing monetary aid to an individual instructed to disdain me." "There's a distinction." She's a youth. She's mature enough for malice. Mature enough to chuckle during the destruction of a cherished item. Mature enough to label it tawdry while her parents simpered. It was unintentional. It was negligence, fostered by your spouse's disdain and your muteness. I overheard Julia in the distance, insisting on details. Alina, reconsider. Mia adores that institute. It's her ambition. Then devise a means to cover it. Auction the yacht. Restructure the mortgage. Resolve it as others do. We can't. You claimed you'd undertake anything for your offspring's ambitions. Now demonstrate it. This is harsh. Is it? Harsher than ridiculing someone's economic standing. Harsher than instructing your child that her aunt is indigent and uncouth. Harsher than giggling as she demolishes a legacy piece. Tom offered no retort. The pendant I pressed was valued at $16,000. Platinum, half-carat gemstones, Art Nouveau era. My grandmother acquired it in 1947 using earnings from wartime factory labor. It's endured in our lineage for 8 decades. $16,000. Julia deemed it a bizarre bauble. Mia shattered it because she was conditioned to deem me unworthy of regard. And you uttered nothing. I was unaware. You failed to inquire. You presumed. Much like you presumed Mia's grant stemmed solely from her aptitude. Much like you presumed my poverty from my modest style. Julia seized the receiver. Alina, this is ludicrous. You can't ruin Mia's prospects over a pendant. I'm not ruining, I'm merely halting my contributions. We can atone. Mia can atone. We'll procure a replacement pendant. Using what? You can't manage $45,000 for fees presumed covered. How to manage a $16,000 pendant? That's unjust. What's unjust is covertly bankrolling your child's pursuit for 3 years while enduring derision at kin meals. What's unjust is witnessing her demolish a treasured item because you instilled she was superior. I never implied you were inferior. You implied my simplicity stemmed from lacking true earnings. You implied I couldn't discern authentic from counterfeit. You branded my grandmother's pendant a bizarre novelty. Mia simply echoed you. Quiet. Then how did you learn I uttered those? She relayed them just prior to shattering the pendant. Mom says it's from the bazaar. Mom says you can't discern authentic from counterfeit. Your phrase is echoed by your child instance before she wrecked an invaluable item. Julia's respiration trembled. I didn't intend. I merely. You always appeared so subdued relative to. Relative to what? Your facades, your upgrades, your existence reliant on your child's enigmatic grant. That grant was aptitude-driven. That grant was mine. 3 years, 135,000 dispersed in segments. For a niece I cherished and sought to bolster. No longer. Tom interjected, reclaiming the receiver. You said cherished. No longer, I still cherish her. But I refuse to finance someone instilled with scorn toward me. I won't allocate 45,000 yearly to nurture someone taught I'm insignificant. So you'll permit her to forfeit it all? I'm permitting her kin to gauge her value. You professed you'd do anything for your kids' ambitions. I provided 3 years without that burden. Now validate your words. I disconnected. My device inundated with notifications. Tom pleading for reversal. Julia oscillating between remorse and blame. Even Mia abruptly cognizant of her loss. Aunt Alina apologies for the pendant. I was ignorant of its worth. Please spare my education. I replied once. You were ignorant of its worth. Thus you deemed it permissible to shatter it. That's the core issue. The following dawn mother rang. Tom explained the events. Everything. That you financed Mia's institute. That you nullified it yesterday eve. That Julia voiced dreadful remarks about you. She did. Why conceal your sponsorship of Mia's studies? Because I aimed to assist anonymously. I desired Mia's chances unburdened by debt. That's benevolent. It was until it turned burdensome. Mother paused briefly. The pendant. Grandmother's pendant. Is it truly fractured? The fastening fractured. It's fixable, yet it'll bear a scar. And Mia simply wrenched it from your throat. She seized it, dubbed it spurious, and jerked until it fractured. While her siblings chortled and Julia beamed. That's intolerable. Indeed. But Alina, she's 15. She lacked comprehension. She comprehended sufficiently for malice. For derision, for demolition. She's mature enough for repercussions. Repercussions so grave. Repercussions matching her deeds. I committed 135,000 to her prospects. She demolished an irreplaceable item, deeming me too destitute to count. Those repercussions strike me as balanced. Mother exhaled. Tom claims they can't cover the fees, then they'll confront decisions regarding yachts and vehicles and overhauls, regarding true priorities. You're sanctioning them for misjudging you. I'm ceasing aid to those who scorn me amid my aid. There's a nuance, a maternal exhale. When did you grow so resolute? I'm not resolute. I'm finished yielding to those who confuse benevolence with frailty. That midday I conveyed the pendant to a craftsman mother recommended, an elder gentleman in the trade for 4 decades. He inspected it meticulously, his lens highlighting every facet. Art Nouveau era, exquisite craftsmanship. The harm is mendable, though it'll retain a trace. The fastening was authentic. I'll reconstruct it matching the motif. The cost? For you, $900, as it's an artifact meant for display. I entrusted it to him and stepped into the midday light. My device vibrated with yet another note from Tom. The Institute granted until Thursday for me as dues. Reconsider, please. We're kin, I composed. Kinship entails mutual regard. Kinship avoids deriding possessions. Kinship abstains from mirth amid legacy demolition. You instilled in me my unworthiness of esteem. Now you're imparting that deeds bear outcomes. That's effective rearing. Thursday arrived. The limit elapsed. Tom dialed Sunday dawn. She's expelled. They rescinded her place. 3 years of preparation vanished. I regret her confronting her deeds' outcomes. You're not regretful. You're gratified. I'm sorrowful. Sorrowful it reached this. Sorrowful you permitted disdain until it exacted a toll on your child. What do you seek? Remorse? I sought elementary esteem. I tendered 3 years of unseen fiscal aid you never scrutinized. I demanded naught beyond avoidance of derision at kin suppers. Julia regrets deeply. Julia regrets exposure. There's a nuance. Can we mend this? Can we rectify? I pondered Mia's expression as she fractured the pendant. Julia's triumphant beam, Tom's muteness. Here's rectification, I stated. A sincere remorse from Mia evidencing her grasp of her error, not its monetary value but her malice. A concession from Julia that her utterances wounded unjustly. And from you, recognition that muteness enables. That's it. Then reinstate the grant? No, the grant concludes, but perhaps trust mends. Perhaps kin suppers evade worth assessments. You're truly withholding aid. I aided her 3 years covertly, enduring lesser treatment. I'm done aiding the disrespectful. He disconnected sans reply. The craftsman rang Tuesday. The pendant awaited. I collected it that dusk. The fresh fastening, flawless yet altered. A token of the fracture. I wore it to labor the subsequent day, concealed beneath my collar for my gaze alone. A token that worth evades ostentation. That subdued items hold treasure. That unacknowledged benevolence persists until scorned. My device remained mute for 7 days. Then Julia messaged. Mia penned you a note. She insisted I forward it. She barred me from previewing. The note arrived attached. I accessed it anticipating pretexts, rationales, ploys for sway. Instead, Aunt Alina, apologies for fracturing your pendant. Not for its price, but for it being yours and my recklessness toward your treasure. Apologies for deeming it inexpensive. Mom did assert that, but I elected to accept and wield it spitefully. I'm no longer at the Institute. Parents can't sustain it. I'm resentful, yet I grasp its due to my conduct. I was oblivious to your sponsorship. I was oblivious to much. Apologies, no pleas, no ploys, pure concession, I replied. Gratitude for your remorse, I embrace it. The grant remains void, but I wish you persist in ballet. Authentic fervor requires no elite venues. Merely resolve, she responded. I located a community hall. It's dissimilar, but the instructor excels. She affirms my promise. Gratitude for the 3 years you bestowed. Though unaware it was you, it signified. I regarded the dispatch extendedly. Then composed, persist in ballet. Perhaps one day we'll witness your show, sans critique, with pure kin elation. She answered plainly, I'd cherish that. The pendant rests against my flesh as I compose. The renewed fastening, steadfast yet distinct. A token that certain fractures mend yet scar, that worth defies others' acclaim, that benevolence is voluntary, not compulsory, and that occasionally the kindest act is permitting one to confront their selection's toll. My niece forfeited her elite institute. But perhaps, merely perhaps, she absorbed a lesson surpassing ballet drills. She absorbed that malice exacts, that presumptions mislead, that the subdued aunt in modest garb might underpin your very stance, and that prior to deeming something valueless, ponder who's borne the cost for your ambitions throughout.